To start the show, we're going to talk about a problem that lots of people will face actually at some point in their lives, that of being lonely. Older people in particular often suffer more from being on their own, and today a special loneliness summit was held in Bristol to try and address this issue head on. This is the second time Bristol Ageing Better and Age UK have held this summit. We can find out a bit more about what happened today and what's going to happen next with Bristol Ageing Better's Director Adam Rees. Welcome to the show. Nice to talk to you, Adam.
Hi, Laura. Thanks for having me.
How's it been today?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been a great opportunity to get people together to talk about loneliness and actually kind of start to break down some of that stigma.
Yeah, of all the subjects you could have talked about, why is it important to be discussing loneliness?
Bristol Ageing Better was funded by Big Lottery to look at loneliness for older people in Bristol, but also today's been about the Jo Cox Commission on Loneliness, so picking up the work of the MP Jo Cox around tackling loneliness more nationally across all ages. So I think it's been important for us to bring both those together and to start joining up work in Bristol around this.
Yeah, what can you tell us a bit about the either from the stories that you hear from people or from many of your partners about the impact of loneliness?
Yeah, definitely. When we're doing our projects, we do an evaluation. We ask people some questions, asking them how to scale their loneliness, really. And then we do that again at the end of the project. And I think that's the most important thing for us, is to see a journey. And we see that so often in the stories that we get from the older people who are involved in the projects. People who may never have gone outside the door before, but have spoken to a neighbour who's encouraged them to go along to an activity, and that has started them getting involved in something else, and it snowballs into kind of actually a much more engaged community activities.
Yeah, and can have a transformational effect for some people, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly.
So in terms of who's been along today then, tell us about some of the groups or the people, the important decision makers maybe who've been there.
So we've had just over 100 people coming along today at City Hall, and this morning we had Councillor Helen Holland speaking, who's the cabinet member leading on adult social care. But over lunch we also got the mayor and the deputy mayor along, Asher Craig and Marvin Rees, who were able to speak to some of the participants also about those issues about loneliness from a very personal perspective.
Do you think sorry, go on.
Sorry. In terms of other partners as well, we've had a range of partners from across kind of council and the house, but also very small local organisations, as well as more bigger national organisations like the Campaign to End Loneliness and Age UK Bristol as well.
Have you noticed any difference in, I don't know quite how to phrase this, but are more people feeling lonely, or actually are we getting a bit better at supporting people?
I think that's something that came out of today for me the most, really, was that our focus, and especially my focus within work, is about older people. But today's conversations were very much about loneliness affecting anybody because of the circumstances. So I moved to Bristol for this job, and when I first moved here, I didn't have a social network. I took on a big job, and I didn't know people around the area. And you start to see, actually, that was loneliness in a small way, but I was able to get out of that because I could get out of the house. I had to meet people through work, and some people aren't in those situations. So that could happen at any age, depending on your circumstances.
It's sort of creating the opportunities, some of the resources and the support to try and help people. I guess, what else would you say is important to support people through that time?
I think one of the strengths Bristol's got has the community activities. So Bristol, we have street parties every other weekend, and those are the things that I think make the biggest difference. Is if you can say hello to your neighbour and know that there's somebody you can speak to and start a conversation with, that makes a big difference, because that isolation starts on your own front doorstep a lot of the time.
Have you noticed, did anyone talk about technology and what impact that's having on whether people feel lonely?
I think that we're talking today to some of the people that came along, especially older people. There's a very negative effect of technology, with the idea that, children can call their parents or Skype their parents without having to necessarily come. But then on the other side, people feel that being able to access the internet and know what's going on sometimes can be helpful for them. So I think there's a bit of a kind of swings and roundabouts sometimes with those kind of things.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the events that some of your partners put on, because I know there's actually a really wide range of things, and maybe some people don't know about what's happening and what's happening for very low cost often that they might be able to go along to.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a project called Community Kickstart, and it's a fund of money that we give out to community groups if they think they've got a new idea that could prevent or stop people having loneliness in their community. So they have to fill in a form, which is 2 pages long, and they have to say why they think they want to do it, if they think the older people want to be involved in it, and what they need. And that decision is made by a group of older people. So the projects we've funded in the past have ranged from sewing machines for a sewing group where older people couldn't come anymore because they couldn't hand sew, to orthopedic chairs in a community centre. But we've also funded Tai Chi classes, and we funded a project supporting dogs coming into care homes to engage with older people. There's lots of different ideas, really.
Yeah, there is so much, actually, and it's really good hearing and seeing some of the things that people come up with, because you might not have necessarily thought of them before, but they can have a pretty massive effect. Are there good places to go to find this information? Is it held in the library, on the internet, I'm guessing?
Well, yeah, so our website is bristolagingbetter.org.uk, and people can access it through there. But we are currently working with all the libraries in Bristol to get an Aging Better directory in there. So any activities are going on, not just the ones we fund, will be soon in a kind of a binder in each of the libraries, as well as on a notice board within Central Library.
Is that going to have any? I remember, was it you that did a photo shoot?
It was, yes.
It
will definitely have those pictures.
And it will have those in. Do you know what? That was such a good day. I came along and saw some of the people who had put themselves forward to be models, if you like. And they weren't people who've usually done all of this, were they? But you had a complete mixture of people with all sorts of different experiences, shapes and sizes. And it was actually, I found it fascinating talking to them.
I love those pictures, and we've used them today, actually. In between the slides, I've shown those pictures because even though loneliness is a very serious subject, we need to make sure that we're looking at the positive aspects and we're looking at the solution rather than just worrying about the problem. So we've shown those pictures all day today, actually, and I think it's been really important.
It has, because every one of... I spoke to lots of the participants, lots of your models, and they'd all experienced some kind of loneliness, but had also come through the other side of it. And so that's the message you want to give out to people, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, that's the inspiring thing, is that all of us have had an element of loneliness, whether it be a day, a week or a year, but it's about a lot of us have come out the other side, and we need to start thinking about how can we support other people to come out to the other side. Yeah,
because it's a simple thing to fix. Adam, nice to talk to you today. Good luck with the work that you're doing. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Adam Rees there from Bristol Aging Better, who've just had their summit today looking at loneliness in Bristol.